The project for class DES10651 timber design and production is going to be to produce a timber pencil case. Included in this pencil case project is going to be to include some 2D drawings of the project with dimensions, a cutting list, a complete order form, a risk assessment for a sliding compound miter saw, and a risk assessment for a table saw. This slide shows the dimensions from 3 separate views of the top piece of the pencil case. This slide shows the dimensions of 3 separate views of the back of the pencil case. This slide shows the dimensions of 2 separate views of the front of the pencil case. This slide shows the dimensions from 3 separate views of the side of the pencil case. And please note that this piece will have to be replicated as there are 2 sides to the pencil case. This slide shows the dimensions from 2 separate views of the base of the pencil case. This slide shows our cutting list. Please note we have a column label description which identifies which piece we are identifying. We have the base, the left side, the right side, the front, the back and the top. The next column is identifying our material, which is the same for every piece, which is dressed radiata pine. The next 2 columns are our length and width in millimeters with various lengths to suit. Our next column is our quantity of each piece, and we have a comment section which is the same for all pieces, just identifying that we're using 12mm dressed radiata pine timber. This slide shows our complete order form. We will be ordering 30 lengths at 1500mm long at a width and depth of 140 by 12mm. And the material we'll be using is radiata pine, and the type of cut is dressed all round. Side note, this is assumption made that there are 30 students in the class. Calculations show that the lengths of 1500mm will be sufficient timber for each student to complete this project, with an allowance of an extra 460mm of timber per student for offcuts and any mistakes. Students will also require glue and finishing nails to complete this project, which will be supplied by the high school. Here we have a JSA for a sliding compound miter saw. Step 1, setting up the worksite. Potential hazards are carrying heavy timber, back injury, and unstable drop saw, with a risk rating of 6. To control this, we can have a dual lift on the timber if required, and we can use a bench with a drop saw to ensure stability, with a revised risk rating of 2. Initiating the saw operation. Potential hazards: high torque, a tendency to kick, and spraining of the wrist. Risk rating of 9. The controls are to initiate the saw in its highest position so the saw cannot kick back. Revised risk rating of 3. Cutting timber. Potential hazard: timber kicking back during cut, strain wrist, cut to hand or wrist, cut to hand or arm due to blade operation. Risk rating of 12. Controls: engage the saw, stops to provide protection if the saw kicks. Ensure the retractable blade guard is installed and operating correctly prior to use. Ensure hand holding timber in position is 12 cm from the blade. Revised risk rating of 4. Post-cutting of the timber. Hazards: dust inhalation, respiratory issues, risk rating of 9. Control: ensure dust extractor or collector installed and operation correctly. revised risk rating of 1. Packing up the worksite. Hazard, carrying heavy timber, back injury, risk rating of 6. Controls a dual lift on timber if required. Revised risk rating of 2. Our JSA for the table saw. Step 1, setting up the worksite. Hazards are carrying heavy timber, back injury, risk rating of 6, with a control of dual lift on timber if required, revised risk rating of 2. Cutting timber lengths for base, side, back, front and top of pencil case. Potential hazard, impact from timber if saw kicks, laceration to hand/arm, laceration due to blade getting caught in sleeve, industrial deafness, blindness from timber fragment to eye, risk rating of 12. Controls, while operating table saw, do not stand directly behind the saw, stand out of the line of fire. When making a cut of 10 centimeters or less, use a push stick to propel the timber through. Ensure you're wearing short sleeve shirt or sleeves rolled up above the elbows. Wear earmuffs or earplugs when operating table saw, and wear safety glasses. Revised risk rating of 4. Cutting in the grooves on sides and back for lid. Hazards, laceration to hand/arm when replacing guard with rhyming knife, laceration to hand/arm when operating table saw to create groove in timber, risk rating of 12. Controls, ensure power to machine is off, turn off power and attempt to start table saw to prove it is dead. Use a push pad to ensure a good grip on timber. Push across, not down on the timber as it passes the blade. Revised risk rating of 4. Post cutting of timber, laceration to hand/arm, risk rating 9. Risk controls, ensure blade has come to a complete stop before reaching in to grab the cuts. Revised risk rating 4. Packing up worksite. Carrying heavy timber, back injury, risk rating 6. Controls, dual lift on timber if required, revised risk rating 2.